Apparently what it does is terminate the recording application. So I apologize for that brief delay. But you can see now, once that review has been accepted, it turns the review icon green. It takes the comments and moves them into the notes section. It updates the current status of the bill to the recommended status of the bill. So again, that's a really important functionality if you are tasked with either completing a lot of reviews or going through and taking action on reviews. If you come into the main reviews page, you can identify any bills that you need to review by selecting your name and hitting the filter function. And you can identify any bills that need action on them by coming in and looking at the color status and using the action tools on the left side of the screen. So again, all of that lives here under Bills Reviews. Pre-session bills is an area in which you can add any bills that have not yet been filed or are not yet available through the state system. Adding a pre-session bill is simple. Give me a date, a name, the prefix like LC, the number 12345, who the sponsors are, a relating clause, cut and paste, a summary cut and paste, and then attach the document and hit the save button. Once you've attached that LC, it'll show up here under the pre-session bill section. Legislative concept requests, that's a feature that only a handful of people have. We'll cover that in a different tutorial. That takes us through what we can do from the bills page. We've already talked about the calendar. I'll move quickly through the remaining functions of the application. Perhaps the next most important function is indeed the search button. I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking to you about the functionality of the search. It's pretty straightforward. I would only tell you this. The keyword search at the top is a keyword search that looks at only the relating clause and the summary of the bill. If you want to do a more detailed analysis or review or search, you need to use the keyword search here. And that keyword search is a Boolean search. If I type in the word health, but not care, it will give me only bills that have the phrase health, and then it will exclude any that have the phrase health and care. The same goes if I typed in healthcare in quotes, it will give me only bills that have that full phrase, whereas if I took the quotes out, it would give me all bills that have both the word health and the word care. This keyword search is indeed a full text search. Maybe I also wanted to search by statute. I could type in the statute number and it would find the bills that affected that individual statute. So that's pretty straightforward. Again, the other thing we can do here is look back sessions. Maybe there was a bill that was introduced in the 2015 session that you just can't remember. You can come in here, look back at the 2015 session, type in the phrase or keyword that you want to search for, hit the search button at the bottom, and it will find all of those bills. So again, that all lives here under the search tool. Probably the next most important thing you'll be doing with the application is running reports. We have a range of reports that you can run out of the bill tracking system. Reports itself is an option. Exports Excel, exports custom report, saved exports, saved reports, and scorecard bills. I'm going to start with just the reports toggle. The reports that are under that reports heading are what we think of as our stock reports. They're PDF reports, and they have limited flexibility. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to look at the tracked bills report. This will be a stocked report. I need to tell the system what my parameters are. If I don't include any parameters, it will export a report that includes all of the legislation I'm tracking. I have two options. I can run it now. I can run it later. If I run it now, it's going to generate a PDF report that'll pop up on the screen and allow me to see that report. All that lives under the reports toggle. The other thing I can do here is select the run later. If I want to do that, I can give the report a name. This is the tracked bills report. And I can hit the save button. And at that point, I can run this report anytime. It's a dynamic report, so if I added bills to be tracked later, and I came back in and ran this report later, it would include any bills I added since the report was created. I can also send this bill out if I wanted a list of all my tracked bills to come to me every day. I can include my name as a recipient, and it would now send a tracked bills report to me each and every morning. The other options I have from reports are Excel exports. We may not have a report that fits your needs, and you may want to have a little bit more flexibility in manipulating your report. If that's the case, you'd use this Export Fields tool. You can export them either by dragging and dropping or by double-clicking. You select which fields you want. They'll move on to the selected side. Select your options around notes, and then set your parameters. Once you've set all of that up, you can either run that report right now, which will generate an Excel file, or again, if you hit the run later, you can save this report and run it anytime you'd like, or set it up to be automatically emailed to any recipients. That custom report feature is exports to Excel. Maybe you need a few different fields, but you need a little bit nicer looking report. You can also create a custom report. This custom reports tool allows you to, again, select fields, move them onto your report. So if I wanted the bill name to show up, I would double click it and it would move down here. There are 3 different types of fields we have on our reports. Standard fields, those are typically short report fields, like the bill name or the bill number. The orange bill title and bill summary go into this non-repeating full width. What does that mean, non-repeating full width? It means information that is long, it requires the full width of the page, like the bill title or the bill summary, but there's only one of them. It doesn't repeat itself. So if I wanted to see the bill summary, I could move it down there. And finally, there's repeating full width. Those are any fields that, again, are long fields, but there may be 10, 12, or 15 notes, so they do have to repeat themselves in your report. If I don't want to use that, I can double click it and it'll move it back up. Once I have a number of fields in here, I can also adjust how they'll show up on the screen. Finally, I can set any parameters for the report and either run it now or run it later. If I run it later, I need to give it a name and hit the Save toggle, and it will show up here under my Saved Exports tool. Saved reports are any reports that I ran and saved out of the main reports. And then finally, scorecard reports. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on that, but if you did want to run a scorecard report from those bills that you identified as scorecard bills in the tracking wizard, you can run them on this page. So again, all of that lives here under the reports functionality. The tracking wizard we've already talked about. Remember, I did leave those 2 bills in there and they're still there. You do need to remember to clear those out or they will not make it onto your tracked bills list. Legislators is a straightforward list of individual legislators. So here I can figure out who the legislator is that I'm going to visit, email them from the application, look at their website, or type in any specific notes about that legislator. Notes specific to bills probably would go in the bills field, but if you wanted to keep track of who the LA is, or who the wife is, or what the birthday is, you could do this simply by clicking on the Notes tool and editing that note. So that all lives under the Legislators toggle. Finally, your account. This is where you tell us how you want to be using the application. If I click on your account, it's going to allow me to do a number of things. Do you want to get a 3rd reading email every day? That's just a list of the bills you're tracking that are up on the House and Senate floor. Maybe you want your calendar emailed to you daily. Maybe you don't want your meeting notes to come as invitations. I should probably have mentioned this earlier, but we do send meeting notifications every time a bill gets scheduled for a hearing. Those show up on your in your email. If you accept that meeting, it'll show up on your personal calendar. If you don't accept that meeting, it will not. If you don't want to get meeting invitations, you just want plain text notices, you can toggle this. You also have the option of opting out of all meetings. That means you will get no notifications whatsoever, but those meetings will still show up on your BillTracker calendar. Finally, I can ask the system to send me a keyword email. Again, maybe I want to know all of the bills that have the phrase healthcare in them. And then you'll see here, separate keywords with a space. So I want any healthcare bills and maybe any taxation bills. This will look through the bill stack each day and send me a list of any bills that have either of those phrases or both of those phrases. A unique feature of this keyword email is the email lists the bills that are responsive to the keywords in the order of likelihood that you will be interested in them. So if there's a bill that has the phrase healthcare and the word taxation in it, it'll appear at the top of the list, whereas bills that only have the word taxation in them will appear at the bottom of the list. Finally, you're welcome to get a text notification on bills. By doing that, you just opt into that functionality. Give us your mobile phone number and your carrier, and we'll send you a text notification each time a bill gets scheduled for a hearing. Now, mind you, we do only send those text notifications for bills that are announced within 8 hours of the hearing. That's typically not a lot of bills. Most legislators and legislatures require at least 24 hours notice, so it's typically only at the very end of the session when that gets waived, often by House and Senate rule. So all of that lives here under your account. Most users are not going to have a Your Firm toggle. That's for the administration of the application, and we're not going to take the time to talk about how the application is administered. If you are an administrator, I recommend that you call us, or over here under the Help toggle, there is a full documentation on the application's operation. You can look in there, and it will walk you through setting up the application or updating any administration. So again, a quick review. When you come into BillTracker, we deposit you on the calendar. It shows you a list of bills, shows you your third readings, allows you to go to an individual day. Adding, removing, or viewing bills is all done from this Bills toggle. If I click on it, it's going to give me a list of all the bills. Green are the bills I'm tracking, orange are the bills I'm not tracking. The buttons on the right side of the screen allow me to mark them as red or add them to the tracking system. By clicking on the bill detail or the hyperlink to the bill, it will always take me into the bill detail page where I can get more information about the bill. The search and reports function are fairly self-explanatory. At the end, when your session is done, you hit the log out button, and it will clear the system of all of your activity. Thank you for taking the time to listen to our BillTracker overview. If you have any questions whatsoever, feel free to drop us an email at info@billtracker.com. We'll be happy to help. Thanks again for using BillTracker. Good luck this session. Take care.